Welcome back to the channel. Today we are hanging out at the Desert Botanical Gardens here in Phoenix.
Yeah, so come get lost with some pointy things. They almost look like glass. It's crazy. Check out the bird eating out of the cactus.
Yeah, he's eating his breakfast.
There's a few of them in there.
Mm-hmm.
They're skilled, not getting poked.
Right.
Well, one's enjoying it, whatever he's doing. So these are the kind of cactuses I think of when I think of cactuses. What about y'all? These.
Well, those are the only cactuses I think we ever saw, like in the store and stuff, like when we were kids. Like they would sell cactuses at Walmart.
Yeah. Well, I would say those and these right here. These were at Walmart too a lot. My grandmother had this kind of cactus.
It's so cool. He's just like over there eating his breakfast. Look at that picture I got.
It's like a cactus forest. Here's some teddy bear cactus for y'all. Teddy bear. He looks all warm and squishy. Check out the purple color on these. I'm guessing it's because they're reproducing?
They're a prickly pear. And they're a black spine prickly pear.
Black spines. That's supposed to be black. It looks more purpley. There's some yucca.
Some yucca trees. My dad used to plant these.
Yeah, he had some of these in your yard as a kid.
Yeah. My dad didn't like pointy things that much. So like these and like the aloe. Like the long, big aloes. That's pretty much. And then he'd like transplant them somewhere else. These things are sharp. Sharp. kind of dangerous if you like have a house with like small kids. Not really something you want. And agave is another one that's kind of. Oh, these kind of look like coral.
Yeah, they're like baby cactuses. Do you think they're gonna like thicken up like the other ones?
Mm-hmm. But they kind of make me think of coral.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Isn't that one aloe right there? Or is that just another cactus? I think the babies grow up to be that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Is that staying in the middle there? It's kind of long and spiny.
Yeah. Some interesting stuff here.
During our season. This is done by a woman whose name is Ruth Trout. One name. She's originally from Germany, spent a lot of time in Paris. Verdi, we usually get Verdi. What's Verdi? Green. Okay, how about Palo? Anyone? Yeah, good. It's stick. So why do you think this is called?
So the tour guide said that these are so green because it does all the photosynthesis in the actual bark instead of the leaves like other plants. Pretty fascinating.
And it's also the state tree.
Yeah, it is also the state tree of Arizona. Look at the Christmas lights.
Sequins and stuff and glitter when she does her painting. So a lot of the ones, depending.
Then I walk on this side, it's green people. You can see a little bit from like right here. Where the sun hit
Okay. It has a very distinctive smell.
So these trees right here actually make a sunscreen on their leaves.
They're called creosote trees, and when it rains, they release their oily covering substance.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
United States, you may have seen one because they grow in most states in the United States. They're pretty hardy. My sister lives in Wisconsin.
The one thing I do like about this tour is there is a ton of spaces just to like stop and kind of take in everything. So there is a lot of like space to stop. So if you get tired easily or maybe need some rest, there's a bunch of benches and stuff along the way.
The shape of it should remind you of something else. What would that be? Something you're probably more. Oh yeah, it is. Look, in fact, that's what my granddaughter said once. Pineapple. But have you seen another plant that's shaped like that? Aloe. Yeah. And that most people are familiar with the aloe. This is a saguaro. It's spelled saguaro. It's pronounced saguaro. I don't know. But one that is pretty close to fully grown, although this one may still be growing, and you can see it facing it. One side's going to be in the shade,
Squishy.
so it helps give it shade.
And you can't
And
eat it.
if you look at
It's
the
the
arms,
crunchiest.
all of those spines are also giving it shade.
So what did you think of the guided tour?
Yeah, I thought it was actually really interesting. I like the fact that it's included with your admission here, and it's just like your basic kind of knowledge tour of like what how these plants kind of adapt and grow here. So I thought that was pretty cool, and she was really knowledgeable, and like there was a lot of like hands-on stuff too because she passed around a lot of things, and it only took about an hour. So yeah, so I thought the tour was really great. So we're gonna keep walking around because there's still so much more to see. We literally only kind of just walked around one little tiny part so far, so we're gonna go keep exploring.
Untitled.
So that means all those up there are at least like 100 have been there for at least 100 years.
Yeah, one of the interesting things that we discovered on the tour was any of those cactuses where they branch off. You'll see them whenever this way. Once they start branching off with different, like, I guess
Arms?
branches, arms, they're at least like 60 to 80 years old. And some of them can grow to be 100 to 200 years old on their estimates. It's fascinating. But you can see them all back there on that hill.
So it's interesting, these are called prickly pears, and every time I hear the name prickly pear, I just think of the song from the movie The Jungle Book, where they're talking about like the bare necessities, and he's like, they eat the prickly pear. So I think of that song.
I always think it's cool how like the pieces just basically fall onto the ground and then reproduce.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm done. Haha, fooled you.
I'm not lush.
This is pretty cool. If you've ever watched our Road to Disneyland video, we kind of talk about this in that car, how the habitats change throughout like the mountain ranges. It's kind of cool.
And even on our drive out to Phoenix, we kind of cross like an area that gets really green like this,
Yep.
and then it just kind of dries back up. It's fascinating. So these ramadas were built, I'm not going to butcher the name, but basically the natives who lived here, and these were the structures that they stayed in while they were harvesting the fruit that blooms at the top of these trees. And then they cook up the fruit, and it makes like a juicy, sweet pulp.
Fancy. So, Nacy, what was your favorite part or trail?
I didn't necessarily have like a favorite trail, but my favorite cactus is the prickly pear.
Prickly pear. Why is that?
I don't know. They're just like, I like how they're kind of like pads. They're like these big pads, and they like continue to like connect to each other all the way up. And then like I think like the fruit part is kind of cool looking too. So it was actually one of the first ones we saw some of the birds eating this morning, and I just thought it looked really cool. What about you? What was your favorite part, Gary?
So I think my favorite part was definitely the Native Tribes Trail. It showed sort of some of the huts and some of the different living areas that were an option here. Mix that with the cactus stuff. It's kind of cool seeing how back in the day they used to live in the desert and like live in this area, because I can't imagine like 100+ degree temperatures and stuff, how people survive. So being able to see some of that stuff was super cool. And I think my favorite cactus is actually the tall ones that don't actually sprout until like they're 60 years old. I think those are my favorite. The cigaras. Yes. They were super cool. So that's kind of my favorite cactus as well. So definitely if you're here, definitely check out the People Trail. It's like People Plants Trail. And so let's continue through the park, and we'll come and get you when we get to the end for our final thoughts. Sahara. This is what they call a desert oasis.
Oh, and cattails. We used to have cattails in the Cape.
Yep, they sure did. This is an oasis.
Alright, so this is their traditional housing structure of the people who lived in the Sonoran Desert. And wow, it's pretty nice in here, actually. So this is like kind of where they would store things. This is primarily where they would live, as in structures like this. It's actually really cool. This is their kitchen structures. And obviously they left it open for ventilation and to allow the heat to escape. And so this is kind of the structure that they mostly hung out in, which makes sense because it's hot in the summertime here. And then it would make sense they probably hung out in like the more enclosed area during the winter time. This is the grassland type desert. And apparently it also has like a lot of edible seeds in it. One thing I have to say about the Desert Botanical Garden is it's very tranquil and it's very peaceful out here. It's really not that busy. Granted, we're here pretty early in the morning. We got here around 9:30. And it's just really nice and peaceful. And the views are spectacular. All right, so while you're here, these are some of the birds you might catch. I think we saw a bunch of these. This is one that I took a picture of this morning, eating that fruit. We saw some hummingbirds. Haven't seen any doves though. I've seen these little guys by our house.
Yeah.
And they're tiny.
Yeah.
We've seen some of these by our house
We've
too.
seen jackrabbits too.
Yeah. Desert tortoise. I'm sure the bees come out during the pollination time. And then there's some snakes. This one's called the Untitled White Gloss. Alright, so we're gonna go down the center for desert living. This is called elephant food. It kind of makes me think of a bonsai tree. And it very well may be a type of bonsai tree, because I think bonsai is just the art of forming the tree. But it looks really cool. Anybody know what this is back here? Is it just like a sculpture? Is it like a plant? Is it a dead plant they turned into something else? I'm a little confused. There's not really any information about it. Okay, so this is called Playing with the Stars and Lavender.
It's Playing with the Stars, red.
And the other one must be the lavender. So apparently peppers are a really good thing to grow in the desert. You're thinking about what to put in your home garden. And they've already got like some tiny little peppers on them already. So you can grow beets and broccoli and cabbage and carrots, pretty much from fall through winter. Cauliflower, celery, green onion, peas, radishes, and tomatoes. Didn't realize that. So this is the time frame it usually takes from plant to harvest. And for the most part, you're looking at about 3 to 4 months. So this is going to be the herb garden once they actually bloom. There's going to be parsley and cilantro, some sage. There's basil. That looks like mint of some sort. Oregano. Not the devil's oregano though. This plant's probably like an early bloomer, but you can see it's definitely got some of the yellow buds on it. This one is called Feliz. Okay. Okay. This is an iceberg rose. Not really sure how well it's gonna catch on camera, but this is very sparkly and iridescent when the light hits it. It looks almost completely black when there's no sunlight hitting it. Butterfly. This one's also really kind of like iridescent and sparkly, but I don't know how well it translates on camera. Alright, so that's gonna wrap up our day here at the Botanical Garden.
Yeah, fun experience. Definitely a legit tip. Come in the springtime so you can see all the flowers and like the honey, well, I wouldn't say honeybees, but the bees and the hummingbird exhibits and stuff.
Yeah.
They're not really out right now because the flowers aren't blooming, but definitely in the spring they would be more apparent.
Yeah, I would say plan for at least like 2 hours. It's not super huge, but give yourself about 2 hours to kind of walk around, mosey around, and the earlier you come, the less busy it's going to be. It's now almost noontime and it's definitely picked up with the amount of people that are here.
And another legit tip for sure, take advantage of those self-guided tours. They are included with your admission.
Yeah.
And they had one at 10, 11, and 1 today, so you have to get here a little bit early too if you're interested in doing that.
And it was really informative, and I really liked that that was included and not extra. We got to learn a little bit more than I think just like going around and reading the placards.
Yeah, and don't let it deter you if you miss one of those guided tours. There are volunteers throughout the sort of exhibits that will answer questions and talk to you about different aspects of sort of each plant and stuff like that too. So super cool.
Yeah, it's not very expensive. It was about $50 for the two of us to come out here today. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys give it a thumbs up.
Hit the subscribe button.
And make sure you guys ring that notification bell so that way you guys are notified when we do at least 3 videos a week.
And we'll come and get you for the next one.
Ain't that the truth, baby Ruth?
Bye, everybody.